The following is a special presentation of Big Polly's World of Sports Sims, alternating the reality of sports and entertainment since 2020. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our latest installment of the PWT main event. Big Polly coming to you this Sunday, February 6, 2022. We are now 1 week shy of the Super Bowl. And tonight's match is going to be Cowboy Dick Hutton, the reigning PWT World Heavyweight Champion, against Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Let's quickly look at the current champions of PWT, and this list is up to date. Antonio Inoki and Patterson and Stevens just coming off of successful title defenses, respectively, in the Maritimes and in the Great Lakes circuit that is Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo. So our match today, as I was saying, Hutton against Orton Jr., and we should go through the undercard. It was a 7-match undercard because San Juan wanted to do an extra match, so they spent 300 of their 319 trading points for that. And it was Ilio DiPaolo, the Buffalo megastar of the 50s and 60s, was down in San Juan, and he beat Bubba Ray Dudley. A very good match. It was the best match of the night, 27-47 with a full Nelson Snapmare combo. And I'm sure the northeastern circuits, the Great Lakes, Toronto, Montreal, maybe even New York, will be looking for his services sometime in the near future. Massachono over Mystico, 17-14 with a forearm. Ivan Koloff over Miguel Perez Sr. with a small package at just 138. Team Hell No and the Headhunters had the stinker match of the night, a double countout at 8:27. Blue Demon won by DQ over Hiroshi Tenzan when Ivan Koloff interfered in that, and that sets up a match between the two next month. Vladik Sabisco easily over Christian Cage in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So that brings us to our main event here in San Juan tonight. Hutton against Orton. Now, Orton was a world champion in the AWF. That was a circuit that used a round system in the mid-90s, which did not last long. I got to see it when it was syndicated in Tampa, but it did not last very long. It was kind of an offshoot of the AWA, but it used the British round system where they fought in 3-minute rounds. Even tag team matches had 3-minute rounds, which really didn't make any sense. Because the Brits don't do that with their tag team matches for the most part. They do, it's usually a match without breaks, because half of the team is always getting breaks because they're outside the ring. Using the Champions card, Hutton is 2-1-1. He just lost to John Pezic by way of disqualification, but don't worry, Pezic's going to get another crack at the title later on this month. And Orton beat Carlos Colon, the local legend, by pinfall to earn this title shot, as he was the highest ranked heel. And yeah, I did the trade holds already, so let's get on with it. Let's get down to business. Hutton should win, but will he win? It's a one-fall, 60-minute time limit bout. And as usual, the champion has the advantage. Orton must win by a pinfall or submission before any other result occurs to claim the PWT Heavyweight Championship. And we start with an arm hold by Ace. Disqualified Chick, one of the mainstays in the WWF in the 80s, was also part of that Outlaw Knoxville promotion, International Championship Wrestling. That also used to air here in Tampa in the mid-'80s, because I think that has a lot to do with the Poffos living here, by the way. It would air on the local cable channel 9, Sunday nights at 8:30. So I always used to watch that because I always found that interesting. And that's the outfit that used the Midnight Express as their open, and they used Knoxville footage where Ronnie Garvin's beating the stew out of Andre the Giant. Legal forearm by Bob Orton Jr. Pinhold, body press. Dick Hutton in a pinning predicament, but he can't even get a 1 count. We're 2:09 into the bout, and Orton has not had given up a hold yet. A kick by Orton Jr. Superplex, but that was countered, and Hutton shoos him off the top rope. Inside cradle, no pin. And referee was hurt. The wrestler comes to ringside and attacks Bob Orton Jr. outside of the ring. Wrestler then applies one of his specialty moves. Attacking wrestler rolls his opponent back into the ring and leaves his ringside area prior to the referee recovering. So Orton has been busted open by Carlos Colon, we will say. So we'll set that rivalry up for March as well. Carlos Colon, upset that he lost to Ace last month, is acting kind of heelish. But the San Juan crowd loved it because they love Colon. And when the babyface does something, they see no wrong. Vertical suplex, no pin on Orton Jr. And we've now had 4 pin attempts in the bout, each getting 2. Throat chop by Hutton. Disqualified check is stopped. Arm hold by Hutton. So 6:10 into this bout. Punches by the Ace. You can also manage wrestlers in this game. He is a certified manager in wrestling's finest. We used version 3.5, by the way, so the new Open that I used has changed that. And I forgot that Tom had upgraded the game a little bit recently in that 2011 update. Legal forearm by Orton Jr. Sorry, Tom. So Orton doing surprisingly well. Sunset flip. Got a 1 in 40 chance of getting that 3 count, but he doesn't get it. No surprise. Kick by Hutton. Hutton started off slow, but he is gaining momentum with every move. Legal choking by Orton Jr. And a throat chop. He's been getting pinning combinations on Hutton, but no pin. 9:35 now into the bout. Auto control lost back to Orton, who loses control. Painful leg lock. And Orton Jr. hobbling on a bad leg. He's cut open. Tries a counter, but it was outsmarted by Hutton. Abdominal stretch, and that weakens Ace a little more, who is now down 108 points on the damage checks. Legal throw by Hutton, followed by punches by Orton. Throat chop misses, but a body slam doesn't. Ka-chunk! And it's a full body slam and 9 points. So the lead now expanding for Hutton after getting off to a slow start. Leg drop by Hutton. No action. Whip to the ropes by Ace. Suplex attempt. Ka-chunk! That scores. And that's 11 points off of Hutton's total. So the damage difference now down to 105. And a chair shot by Orton. Whack! 15 points. And that cuts the lead down to 90. Throat chop by Orton Jr. Smack. 5 points. Superplex by Bob Orton Jr. 1, but not a 2, as Hutton kicks out. So Orton just tried his patented move. It did not work. A superplex is basically a suplex off the top rope. As I have the last of my coffee this morning. And he tried for the superplex again. This time it was countered by Hutton. Hutton goes for a side roll. And that does not work. Orton Jr. just made it to the ropes before the count of 3 could be scored. But Orton Jr. very much in the argument right now. A suplex attempt by Hutton, and that scores. Speed move by Orton. Quickness and speed on his part. Orton, of course, is the son of his father, Bob Orton Sr., and the father of Randy Orton, who might get into PWT one of these days. Legal choking by Bob Orton Jr. Punches used by Orton Jr. Legal arm hold by Hutton. We've had 8 pin attempts in this bout so far, nearing the 20-minute mark, and Orton Jr. has had 5 of them. Illegal punches again by Ace. You would expect no less from him. And more punches. Throat chop, body slam. And he's really putting moves together against the world's champ. Superplex, and again it was countered. Countered by Hutton, who now has control. Illegal punches by Mr. Hutton. And a legal knee. That does not get a pinfall, though. And we move on. 23-17 into this bout, now 23-27. Superplex, again, he tries for the specialty move, but it was countered. He's 1 for 5 on these finishers of his. Forearm. Enough to put him down. That's your pinfall and a win for Dick Hutton, who went 24-25 to defeat Bob Orton Jr. Orton Jr. very game in a defeat. Match gets 3.5 stars, so we'll add 25 more points to the bank. And I had Don, my friend on the Delphi boards, who I've known since we used to do Rampage Wrestling together, the Lance Hafner game, suggest that we do deductions if a match is 1.5 or less. I'm going to do 50 off. We'll start this in March. 50 off if it's a 0.5 and 25 off if it's a 0.1. But San Juan spent 300 points and only gained 75, so not a good night for them. Final numbers on the match: Hutton 154 off. Orton had a cut, which weakened him, 212 and 36 cut points. But so Hutton retains the title here in San Juan. He now heads to the Sunshine State and Tampa for his next title defense. This has been Big Paulie Jr. By the way, I think that will be against Dr. Wagner Jr., but I don't know without looking. So this has been Big Paulie's World of the Sports Sims, Big Dr. Wagner Sr. So the Big Paulie's World of the Sports Sim channel, if you like the video, hit that like button. Hit that bell to be updated whenever we do videos, because we do some other stuff too, like the HTFL and the HTBL. We will do an HTFL game tomorrow, Lord willing, and if the creek doesn't rise, and we'll do some OOTP later on today. And we'll do HTBL over the weekend, next Saturday and Sunday. And at 1 o'clock, if you're seeing this before 1 o'clock today, we'll have the latest HTBL game up. So much to do, so little time. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe as you wish. And let's just see if anything happened after the bout. It did not. Godspeed and God bless as always. We'll do it all again soon. Bye-bye for now, everybody.